What's up, everyone? Vu of Envu Films, and I am back with another idiotic video for you to watch. And today, I finally have my review of the Zhiyun Crane 2S here for you to watch. And why is it taking me so long? This gimbal has been out for quite some time, and new gimbals have came out, and this one has probably lost some steam, but the reason why it's been taking me a long time was because I kind of had to wait for Zhiyun to send me one. And yes, they did send me this one. And no, they're not paying me for this. They're not telling me what to say. I tried it out. I reached out to them. I wanted to try it out to get some real world use out of it and to let you know what I think of it. Let's just get to it, shall we? Here I have the Zhiyun Crane 2. OG, triple OG. If you watched my original YouTube video of comparing this gimbal with the Ronin S, it's pretty much what kind of launched my YouTube channel. So this is kind of a special moment. But you can see I'm still missing the joystick, and the tripod is still broken. And it's just been sitting here. I've never sold it. It's just been sitting here all this time. And so right off the bat, I want to compare the overall quality of the Crane 2S versus the Crane 2, the original Crane 2. So the Crane 2S is definitely bigger and heavier. And if I were to say that, is it built any more robust than the Crane 2? I would say overall no, other than the tripod and maybe some of the buttons, and like the wheel here is built better. It has locks on all the axes, which is something that I'm gonna have to give credit to Zhiyun, because they were the original ones to come up with these locks, and these locks are very strong. If you have been following my channel, I had the Zhiyun Weeble S, and those locks broke on me. I have no idea how it broke. It just one day I just couldn't lock anymore. So those locks were a little bit China cheap, but these are China strong locks, so they are very robust feeling, and I have a lot of confidence locking my camera on them without worrying about it breaking and trashing my camera. I'm not going to go into too much detail with all of the features of this gimbal. There's 1,000 other videos that does that, and they'll do it a lot better than mine. I highly recommend you watching Say Park's detailed review on this gimbal. Hopefully it'll be linked somewhere up here and links in the description as well. Every gimbal that you buy these days is gonna come with all of like the inception modes, all of those like modes that probably 95% of gimbal users aren't going to use. What most of us use it for is we mount our camera here and then we shoot with it. And this gimbal is by far, in terms of my testing, and I could probably confidently say, gimbal under $600, that is just the strongest, most stable gimbal, $600 and under, that you can buy in terms of just pure power, in terms of how much weight it could handle, as well as how much space it has on its 3-axis to balance pretty much almost any camera you want. There's just so much flexibility balancing it from like side to side here and top down, and there's so much room to just balance pretty much most camera systems on here, including larger cinema cameras. There's no question you could put Blackmagic cameras on here. We've seen plenty of YouTubers use the Blackmagics on this gimbal and in my use. And so my review here on this gimbal is mainly real world usage. How is this gimbal? And I can tell you right now, in terms of just pure stability, walking straight, walking to the side, running, whatever, this gimbal is going to be as stable as you can get. We can look at the newer Ronins, and I could tell you this right now, after using like the Ronin the DJI Ronin SC2, this gimbal is a lot stronger and a lot more stable than the Ronin SC2 in my use. I'm talking about the Ronin SC2. This gimbal is a lot stronger for $100 more. But I've never tried the Ronin S2 yet. I hope someone would do a test against this gimbal in terms of just overall stability. But yeah, so in terms of just overall gimbal stability, this, in my opinion, this is fantastic. I mean, it could handle Sony a7S III with 2470 DG DN. DN stands for D's Nuts lens. And I even had the Fuji X-T4 with an 1835 with a Fringer adapter on it. Massive setup, heavy setup, and this thing handled it like a champ without even calibrating. Another thing I would like to note is I actually just mounted them on. I just bounced them and just used them, and it worked flawlessly versus something like the Ronin SC2 that I used last weekend. We'll have a review on that gimbal also, but I would have to calibrate every time I balance a new setup on it because it just won't be as nice and as smooth. I feel like this gimbal is like, it is just foolproof. Like, you can walk like a complete douchebag and this footage will be stable. You don't have to do the heel toe crap. Like, it's just stable regardless of what you do. This is just how strong and how beefy the setup is, as well as like the algorithm is just, the motors is just, it could handle whatever you throw at it. Big setups, walking like a douchebag, it could handle it. So if you want just super stable footage and you just don't have to muck with it in post and you know that it's gonna just look great, the Crane 2S is for you. Now, here comes my complaints. It's the weight. This thing is a heavy gimbal, and it doesn't have like a underslung handle or anything that comes with it, so you'd actually have to buy it on your own. I have here the SmallRig underslung handle that just kind of like clips on right here like so. It's awesome, but it is also heavy, so it makes the overall thing heavier than it already is. So that's something to consider. If you are a weak piece of douchebag trash, don't use this gimbal. It's going to rip your arms off. If you are relatively strong, maybe do some arm curls once or twice a week, you could handle this gimbal no problem, especially if it's just like a Sony a7S III, Canon R5 or something like that. But if you're trying to slap like a cinema camera on here, which this thing will handle, your arms will definitely break off, and that'll be the end of your filmmaking career for good. Build quality is fantastic. Like, I don't think you could get any like better build quality than this. There has been some complaints of this little joystick falling off, just as the old one did. So Juin, all you gotta do is just glue this or something before you ship it out. Just make sure you glue this up. Battery life, I've never had a problem with it. Pretty much just lasted all day, 12-hour shoots, whatever. I don't know the exact rating, but just using it on and off for 12-hour shoots, like, it worked fine. One other feature that I really like is the fact that this quick release here allows you to put your camera here. So you mount your camera here, and every time, and then you balance the gimbal, and every time you put it back in, your camera is already balanced all the time, so you don't have to like rebalance. And the other part of it is the bottom has more 1/4-inch screws, so you could put like your preferred quick release plate, put on here, so then you could just like easily put this onto a tripod and then put it back onto here without having to ever removing like a plate. And it's gonna always be balanced here no matter what you do. And then you go back from tripod to gimbal, tripod to gimbal, and it is always perfectly balanced just as you had left it. Good job on that, Juin. However, I do prefer maybe switching over to some type of Arca mount here versus just using this Manfrotto type. I feel like this like Arca or Peak Design type of quick release is more the most popular ones used these days. So maybe have something more in the lines of this. But overall, some great versatility there. Yeah. So overall, if you're just looking at this gimbal and you just ignore like all the extra clout from all these new gimbals these days, all these new features, app features and all that jazz, if you just want like a super strong gimbal for like a really good price, like $600 for a gimbal like this is just amazing. This is what you want. I mean, this will handle anything. There's so much space up here. It's so strong, and you could pretty much, and you just get amazing stable footage out of this camera. Pretty much all the footage I've been showing for the past 5-10 minutes have been shot on this gimbal. It is super stable, no complaints in the stability department. Okay, there's no leaning. I haven't noticed any like leaning or anything like that. This is just a fantastic gimbal. The only downside, it's heavy, and also it's massive, it's big, it's hard to travel with. There's not really many options for you to take it apart to stick in your backpack, and that's like my really one gripe of it is just if it's so big, at least make it somewhat modular so you can take it apart, so you can pack it away. There's not really many options for that, so that's another downside. But if you just, like I said, just completely stable, crazy strong gimbal, under $600, the Zhiyun Crane 2S, highly recommended. All right, until next time, guys, lighten up. Zhiyun Crane 2S definitely didn't lighten anyone up. I mean, it's heavy as crap, but I'm just lighten up.